So what does it cost to live in Atlanta in 2021? Well, in this video, I'm going to break down all of your most common costs living in the city of Atlanta. And that's coming up right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to Living in Atlanta. This YouTube channel is all about providing you value for folks who are moving here out of town, or really just anyone looking to buy a home in the Atlanta area. My name is Mark Brenner. I'm a local realtor here in Atlanta. And if you're considering buying a home anywhere in the Atlanta area, I would love to hear from you. You can give me a call, shoot me an email, or you can even book an appointment with me using the Calendly link in the description below. I have people reaching out to me all the time to buy homes in Atlanta, and I absolutely love it, so don't hesitate to reach out to me today. Okay, so what does it cost to live in Atlanta, Georgia in 2021? Now, truth be told, I've made a video called The Cost of Living before, but the reality is things have changed quite a bit, especially on the home buying front. So I wanted to update this and do a fresh video for you so you can get a great idea of what your typical expenses and cost of living are going to be in Atlanta. So right off the bat, let's talk about the cost of buying a home in Atlanta, because that's going to be one of the most common questions, and it's also going to be one of the things that's changed the most over the last year or two since I made my previous cost of living video. So believe it or not, home prices in Atlanta area have risen as much as 13% in just over a year. You've probably heard me talk in a lot of my videos, because you have a combination of low interest rates and extremely low inventory, meaning not a lot of homes for sale, you are seeing home prices rise really sharply in Atlanta. Now, don't be worried. It's still a very affordable city to live in, especially compared to some of your larger metros across the country. So, what kind of budget do you need to buy a home in Atlanta? Now, obviously, this is going to change quite a bit depending on the area that you're looking at and the size of the home that you need. Now, I will tell you the median home price in the Atlanta area right now is just under $350,000. And using that budget, I think you can buy a great home in a great area in Atlanta at $350,000. But let's just talk about some of the broad strokes. So typically in Atlanta, if you're not familiar with the area, most of the more expensive areas, where most of the money is, where most of the better schools are, for whatever reason, tend to be on the north side of Atlanta. So north of 20 and really along the northern corridor, heading north through 75, 85, both inside the perimeter, ITP, and outside the perimeter, OTP. Your prices are going to be more expensive, and the areas in the north side of the city are going to have typically better schools. You may have to worry less about crime, and generally just more desirable areas. What I would say to you is, if you have a budget really that's less than $250,000 and you want to be inside the perimeter, it is going to be a challenge for you to find a place where you may feel comfortable living in a safe environment, especially if you have children. Now, it's possible, but I get a lot of people reaching out to me these days, thinking they can buy a home in the city for $150,000 or less. Well, the reality is those days are pretty much over. Now, the good news is you can buy a great house in a nice area outside of the city. I've talked a lot about areas like Fairburn or Mableton or Douglasville or Conyers. There are a lot of great areas to the west, south, and east of Atlanta where if you are on a lower budget, you can still find a nice home to live. But if you need to be inside the perimeter and you want to be in a decent area, you're really going to want a budget of at least $275,000. Now that's for a single family home. Obviously you have an option for a townhome or a condo. And if you're going to be in a 1 or 2 bed townhome or condo, then you can go lower in the budget range. But keep in mind, you often have HOAs that can be anywhere from $150 or even $500 extra a month if you're looking in Buckhead. Now, the good news is once you're in the mid to low $300,000 range, the possibilities really open up for you. In fact, you can buy a home right now in the Alpharetta area, which I named as one of Atlanta's best suburbs, and I have a whole vlog tour of Alpharetta. You know, with a budget, I would say in the mid to high 300s, you can find a perfectly nice move-in ready home in this area. You're talking about being in one of the best suburbs in the whole state of Georgia in terms of schools, things to do, and geography. You know, you're close to Atlanta, but you're also close heading up north to the mountains, to the vineyards, whatever you want to do up there. So, you know, $350,000 to $400,000, you're going to buy a nice home in all of the northern suburbs. It's not going to be a very updated or remodeled home, but it will be livable. Now, once you get up to a budget of around $450,000, the possibilities really open up to you in terms of an updated home in a great area. Now, similarly, if you want to be in one of the more popular in-town neighborhoods, like one that's around the Beltline on the east side, near downtown, I'm thinking like Inman Park, Kirkwood, Edgewood, Little Five Points, all of these hip, younger in-town neighborhoods, you're definitely going to need a budget in the $400,000, $600,000 range. Now, you can go on the west side near the Beltline, which is I'm a huge fan of, and you can definitely get by in that lower to mid $300,000 range. And then, like I said, you have the northern part, ITP, Buckhead, North Druid Hills, all those nice areas, city of Decatur. Your budget's going to go up and go up into the millions, or you can get by in the high $400,000 range. It's really going to depend on the size of the home that you're looking for. And there's a lot of opportunity in South Atlanta as well. In fact, I'm a big fan of the Tri-Cities, College Park, Hateville, and East Point, because I feel like, you know, with a budget in the mid to high 200s, you can buy a beautiful move-in ready home here in a nice area and be close to the airport. So what about if you're just looking to rent? Not everyone can buy a home in Atlanta. Now, the average rent in Atlanta is around $1,500, and honestly, the rent rates are going through the roof here. Now, again, comparably to other cities, I think rent is still really affordable here, but it is rising rapidly, especially in the better areas. Now, you do have some flexibility here, especially if you're okay being in a one bedroom. You can definitely get in a one bedroom condo, I would say in anywhere from the high 600s, low 800s. Again, it's going to be highly dependent on the area, but you could potentially rent out a condo in a nice area in Buckhead, you know, $1,100, $1,200, $1,300. It's going to be a studio or a one bed. But if you need to be in town, in all the action, if you need to be where there's a lot of shopping and a lot of money, you can definitely do it. It'll be a smaller space and it may not be updated, but those options exist. Now, if you're looking to rent your entire home, which is very possible in Atlanta, your budget's going to need to be a little bit higher than that, especially if you want to be in a safe area. So if you're looking to rent maybe a ranch in Atlanta, maybe in Decatur or somewhere in that area, you're going to want to budget anywhere between, you know, $1,350 to $1,750, and you can actually rent out an entire brick ranch for yourself and not have to worry about, you know, being in a condo building or an apartment where you share walls. So a lot of people don't think about that, but in terms of renting, if I were renting, I would be looking to rent a ranch in the Decatur area, the DeKalb, unincorporated DeKalb area. I think you can do it at a great budget and have a place all to yourself. So let's go back to owning a home, because there's a lot of expenses with that I want to cover that I know you guys are interested in. So let's talk taxes. Now, although again, taxes are rising, I have clients that are shocked moving here from out of state at how low our taxes is. And in Fulton County, the average tax is around $2,900 a year, which if you're coming from a big city, that's probably gonna shock you how low it is. Personally, I live in Fulton County. I have a pretty average size house at a pretty average value, and my property taxes are around $2,000 a year. Now, what about utilities? What does water cost and what does your power cost, gas and electric? So I just opened my water bill for the month of January and my total was $87, and that's pretty typical. It's gonna hover around, anywhere between $75 to $115 a month for water. Now, for power, for air conditioning and heating, this is going to vary obviously quite a bit on the time of year. Now, the great thing about Atlanta is there are long stretches, weeks at a time, where you can completely leave your thermostat off. I turn it off, especially in the fall and spring, open the windows, and it will literally hover in my home with no AC on at around 70 degrees, which is absolutely perfect. Now, where it's gonna go up, obviously, is in your killer Atlanta summers. This is when your bill can run up to $150, maybe even more if you have a larger home. But for me, that's probably as high as it gets. It's about $150. But the great news is, in those months, when it's a spring, fall, parts of the summer, parts of the winter, the bill can go way down into the 80s and even 70s. So quite a big fluctuation for power, but those are some of the averages. And I would say a huge benefit of Georgia is you really only need to keep your thermostat on every day in the peak summer months, and your couple weeks out of the year in the winter time where you do need to throw the heat on because it gets really cold. So something to consider if you are purchasing a home that's a part of a community association, your HOA fees will often cover some or the majority, in some cases, of your utility costs. It's just going to be highly variable, and you need to make sure you get the information from the HOA about what they cover. A lot of times I'll see the HOA cover water, sometimes it'll cover gas or electric. It's just going to depend. I've seen HOAs as low as $100 a month to all the way up to like $600 and $700 a month in some of your nicer areas like Buckhead. So that's just gonna change quite a bit based on your area. Now, your trash and sewer are often rolled into your property taxes, but again, it's just going to depend quite a bit. If you're on public sewer, or maybe you're further out from the city and you've got a septic tank, it's going to be highly variable. But overall, if we're talking about in the city living, your trash and sewer will probably be covered by your property taxes. Now, what about home insurance? Because you're definitely going to want that if you own a home in Georgia. The average is only about $100 a month. Now, my wife and I, we bundle home and auto, and our total insurance bill is around $200 a month, which I don't think is that bad. All right, so let's talk about the cost of school, because I know there are a lot of parents out there who want to consider private school, and they want to know what it's going to cost. So I'm going to refer to my notes here. I don't have this all based on memory, but your average private school tuition for Atlanta is around $10,411. The average for elementary school is about $9,000, and the average for high school is about $11,200. I will say though, I've seen many solid private school options in the Atlanta area in the low thousands per year. All right, now let's talk about daycare, because I know that's hugely important. If you're a working professional family, you need to have somewhere safe and a great learning environment for your kids while you're at work. And again, the spread is going to be quite a bit here depending on the location. It's going to be anywhere from $9,000 all the way up to $20,000 a year. And typically your daycare costs are going to be more expensive inside the city. If you're up north, like say Beaufort City, which is about an hour north of Atlanta, this can be as low as $8,000 a year. So it's going to be a big range. It's obviously a big expense and will vary quite a bit depending on the quality of the school and the area that you're in. But I would say the most common daycare costs that I've personally seen from my friends with kids in daycare, about $1,300 to $1,500 a month. All right, so let's move on to transportation. Now, I've talked in a lot about my videos about how you're gonna need to own a car to live in Atlanta. So I just checked the gas price. It's February here and it's around $2.11. I'm close to downtown and I've got my gas station that I like. So it's hovering in the low twos right now. Again, if you're outside the perimeter, you're further out in the country, you're gonna get a better price than if you're closer to downtown or in the northern city areas. But what if you have to use public transportation? What does MARTA, which is the name of our public transit, cost? Well, to buy a MARTA ticket, you need a Breeze card, which costs $2 and then allows you to purchase an actual ticket or multiple tickets. So if you're just in town for the day and you don't need a reloadable card, you can buy a Breeze ticket for $1 that then you can buy a MARTA ticket for. Or if you want to reload it, you can buy a Breeze card for $2 and then buy your tickets with that. Now the MARTA fare is $2.50 for a one-way trip, but the good news is that your kids can ride free and senior citizens can ride for as low as $1 a ticket. So a one-day pass on MARTA costs $9, a 7-day pass costs $23.75, and a 30-day pass unlimited on MARTA is $95. All right, so let's talk groceries. I don't think groceries in Atlanta are going to be that much different than wherever you're from. Now, I was just in the grocery store. I'm not going to go through every piece of grocery in the entire store, but looking at milk and eggs, I usually pay about $2.99 to $3.99 for a carton of eggs, and for a gallon of milk, I usually pay anywhere between $3.99 and $4.99. Now, let's talk about sales tax. So this will vary a little bit between Fulton and DeKalb County, but now I don't want to get too in the weeds about all the details for your sales tax in Atlanta, because you've got a county tax and a city tax, and it's different in DeKalb than it is in Fulton. But overall, your sales tax in Atlanta is going to be about 8.9%. Now, if you're curious about income tax, we do have income tax in Georgia, and it's going to range between 1 and 5.75%. But if you work full time, you should expect to pay the top rate of 5.75% on your state income tax. Now, the good news is if you're a retiree who's moving to Georgia, there is no tax on Social Security benefits here. Moving on to healthcare, the average cost for healthcare is $574 a month for an individual and $1,634 a month for a couple. Now again, this is obviously going to vary if you have a program that's sponsored by your work, which I hope you do, and hopefully that'll lower those costs, but those are the averages. All right, so those are your big ticket average living expenses in Atlanta. Now, more anecdotally, if we want to talk out and about things to do, restaurants, bars, coffee, again, I think it's going to be pretty in line with most of the major cities throughout the country. But you know, when I go out to a restaurant, obviously this is going to change quite a bit depending on the type of restaurant you are. But you know, just going about my day, stopping at kind of middle of the road place to eat. You know, I typically want to budget at least $15 for a lunch. If I'm going out to dinner by myself on my own at your average restaurant, nothing too fancy or too casual, I'd say you'd look at spending between $25 and $35 by yourself. And if I'm out on a date with my wife at a fairly nice restaurant, I'm gonna expect to spend around $75 at a restaurant. Of course, this is going to vary quite a bit if you go to a super high-end place, or if you're like me, you'll go to Buford Highway and you'll get a fantastic meal for around $10. If you're interested specifically in cocktails and beer, usually at a fairly nice restaurant, I see cocktail prices between $12 and $15, and your beer prices are going to be between $8 and $12. Now, going to my local coffee shop, which is shout out to Full Commission in Grant Park. I usually get a cortado there, and it's around $3.50, $3.99, something like that. A cup of black coffee will probably be around $2.50. So nothing too crazy. I think it's pretty in line with most typical cities. You're going to pay $3, $4, $5 for a latte, depending on how fancy and what kind of milk you use. And your black coffee is going to be, $2 to $3. All right, so just thinking about some other random fun things to do in Atlanta. One of my favorites is the High Museum. It's a fantastic museum that features a lot of great artists throughout the year. A single day ticket costs around $20, but you can actually get a year pass to the High Museum for only $65. Now, if you want to take kids to the Atlanta Zoo, which is really awesome, it's located in Grant Park. Your tickets for adults are going to be between $25 to $30. Your older children will be around $20, and kids under 2 do get in free to the Atlanta Zoo. If you want to take them to the Georgia Aquarium, which is regarded as one of the best aquariums in the country, it is going to be a little bit more expensive. It's around $48 for an adult ticket to the Georgia Aquarium. Now, there are some more affordable amenities in Atlanta for sure. I think if you want to go visit Stone Mountain, which I highly recommend, it's great for a hike, great views up there. It's only $3 for admission into Stone Mountain Park. And one of my favorite amenities in Atlanta is absolutely free. So if you're visiting here or if you live here, it is no cost to you to hop on the Atlanta Beltline. You can walk, run, bike, hop off on restaurants, chill in a park, grab a drink, meet your friends, absolutely free, and it's my favorite amenity in the city. All right, y'all, I hope you enjoyed that video. I tried to think of all of the standard costs someone moving here would want to know. If I missed something, please feel free to comment below and I'll get back to you with an answer. And remember, you can always reach out to me. I'd love to help you move to Atlanta and purchase a home. If that's your plan, feel free to give me a call or book an appointment with me using the Calendly link below. Also, if you derive any value from this channel at all, please take a quick second to hit subscribe. It's a huge help to me. If there's topics you want to see in the future, I'd love to hear. Again, comment below on a video you'd like to see or a question that I can answer. Otherwise, until my next video, I'm Mark Brenner. This is Living in Atlanta, and I'll see you next time.